Happy February, everyone. Welcome back to At Home with Adam. Today we're going to dive into New Orleans and Mardi Gras. So I had the opportunity to go with my mom a couple years ago to New Orleans. We experienced the sights, sounds, and of course the different flavors of New Orleans style cooking. So today what we're going to make is jambalaya. Why don't we go ahead and get started and I'll go through the ingredients. So for the ingredients for a jambalaya, all you're going to need is some kosher salt, butter, yellow onions, a little bit of garlic. You're going to need a can of diced tomatoes, bay leaves, green onions, celery, bell peppers, a little bit of hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, some chicken broth, some long grain rice. Now for my proteins, I have andouille sausage, chicken, and then of course shrimp. And the bowl at the end is my homemade Cajun and Creole seasoning. The recipe is in the link below, so please take a look. Let's go ahead and get started with our first protein. Now, our first protein we're going to use for our jambalaya is chicken. Now, working with chicken, some of you might know, you want to be very careful because you don't want to get salmonella. So that is why when I'm cutting my chicken, I'm using a separate cutting board from the ones I will be using for the vegetables. So when I'm cutting chicken, first you wash your hands, which I've already done. Now, you will need approximately 1 to 2 pounds of chicken and you want it sliced like bite-sized chunks. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this chicken up into bite-sized chunks, and then we're going to stick this chicken into a plastic bag, and then we're going to season it with some of my Cajun spice mix. Again, the spice mix ingredients are listed below. Just follow the link below. Let me go ahead and cut some of this chicken up into bite-sized chunks for you. Notice I'm cutting it one way first. Okay, good thing I can turn the cutting board, and then I'm going the other way and just kind of slicing. Now if your knife is sharp enough, which this one is okay, you should be able to just cut it through like paper. Okay, I'm going to put this chicken off to the side and I'm going to cut another one. So I've cut the chicken, I've washed my hands, I'm going to put this knife in the sink because I'm not going to use the same knife that I'm going to cut the vegetables. I'm going to put this away, and then I'm going to put the chicken in a plastic bag. You could use a bowl if you don't have any bags, but I figured using this because it's an easy cleanup. You don't have to do dishes. Alright? Now, with your clean hand, you're going to take about 1 to 2 scoopfuls of the Cajun seasoning. Maybe I'll do a little extra because I made plenty. Okay, Ziploc the bag. I'm going to wash my hand again. I'm going to put the cutting board in the sink, get rid of that one, and I'm just going to shake with shake and bake. I'm going to coat all the sides of the chicken. Good. Get it nice and coated. If some of them it's a little plain, add a little bit more seasoning. Okay. This is what it should look like. Nice and coated, and then we're going to put this off to the side. And the next thing we're going to do is prep our vegetables. First thing that we want to prep is our onion. So when you're cutting your onion, again, because these are small onions, they are yellow onions, I have 2 small ones, so I'm going to kind of just cut both of them up. So you want to dice them, and I'm going to cut both of them in half. Now this is the root side, keep that one intact, and then you're just going to go to the board with them. Okay, cut all the way through. Do not cut the part with the root. Now we're going to go this way. Okay, and then you just slice down. Perfect, and now you have diced onion. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting up this onion, and then we'll start cutting up a pepper. So the next thing I'm going to dice up is a pepper. And fun fact, I bet you guys didn't know that all peppers are green, but they turn yellow or red when they get riper. So what we're going to do is we're going to dice up a pepper, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. You're going to cut off the top. Okay. Put it off to the side. You're going to cut the bottom. And then you're going to do a slit down one of the sides. Now you're going to kind of open it up, and you're going to cut these parts out. Get rid of the seeds, and if they come apart like this, that is fine. Okay. Okay, this is trash, you don't need that. Now, the inside of a pepper, the white parts of a pepper are bitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that out and get rid of that, because we want the nice fresh flavor of a pepper inside of our jambalaya. Just slice lightly, just get rid of that white portion. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'll do this part later, but let me show you. You're going to cut these into a little bit of strips. Now, if again, cut off that white part. You don't want that bitterness in your jambalaya. Now, you should have about the same size pepper sticks, and then what you're going to do is you're going to cut down. Okay, that's how you dice a pepper. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the peppers, and then we'll go and work on garlic and celery next. Now, to dice celery, it's kind of easy. First, I take the white ends, the bitter ends of the celery, and just chop them off. I'm not going to use them. Now, you can do it one or two ways. You can take your knife and just slice down the middle. Watch your fingers. And if they're not perfect, that's okay. Slice. Now you have 2 celery stalks. Slice again. You have another one. And now you just dice. Now, doing this, if you notice, the onions, peppers, and celery, I did this in order. These 3 vegetables create the holy trinity in Cajun and Creole cooking. So a lot of New Orleans style recipes like shrimp étouffée or jambalaya and gumbo, they always start with these 3 vegetables. So if you ever go to New Orleans and you hear them use holy trinity, it's because they're using onions, peppers, and celery. All right, so let me go ahead and finish up the celery, and then we'll get started on the garlic. Last vegetable we want to prep is garlic. So we are going to just need 3 cloves, but I want to show you how you get this. You can just kind of, you can just break them off like this, and this is what you were looking for, these little cloves of garlic, and I'm going to show you how you can break them apart. So these are, just because they're separated does not mean they are done. Okay? They are still peeled. You have to peel them like an onion. They still have that skin, as you can see. There's still some skin left. So the easiest way for me to do this is take my back of my knife, smack down, you're going to hear click, and it's peeled. Okay? So peeled, so this is what you're looking for. As you notice, it's a little bit of off-color yellow. That's an actual garlic clove. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Again, you're taking the clove of garlic, smashing it lightly with your palm of your hand, and this way it can help you peel. All right, now to mince garlic, if you can see, there is a little bit of a root there. You want to cut that root off, and then you want to put it off to the side in the trash area. So to mince, you're just going to cut very tiny cuts. Very tiny. And it's going to be hard. I mean, watch your fingers. And then if there's still big pieces, just kind of now go with this and just, you want to get them nice and tiny. Now, if you don't want to use fresh garlic, they have minced garlic already in your jar. You can use that as well. So let me go ahead and finish mincing my garlic, and then we're ready to cook. All right, so what I'm going to do is take half a stick of butter. Southerners love using butter, so we're just going to use a half a stick. I'm going to throw it in the pot, and I'm going to melt it. Before I add my chicken to the butter, I'm just making sure the butter is going to be melted. And then when the butter's melt, that's when I'm going to add my chicken that's been sitting out, marinating for a while, and I'm going to cook it until it's brown on all sides, roughly 3 to 4 minutes. It may take longer depending on how thick your chicken is, all right? So we're going to wait to melt the butter, and then we're going to start cooking our chicken. So while I'm waiting for the butter to melt so I can start cooking the chicken, I want to go ahead and start slicing up my andouille sausage into coins. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to slice and make little coins. Don't do it too thick because you want to have them all cook about even. So this is about the thickness you want it. Okay, so you know it's not as thick because you want to be able to cook evenly in all of them. All right, so this is about the size you want. And just put them off to the side. We're going to stick them off and keep them until the end of the recipe. All right, but I'm going to probably use the whole package, but again, just slice them into coins, and then you're done. Butter's melted, and I'm going to add the chicken, and do slowly, please, go slowly, because you don't want the butter to splatter you, because it could burn you. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the chicken a little bit slow. Hear the sizzle? That's what you're looking for. Alright, so again, cooking the chicken 3 to 4 minutes, and you have to make sure they're brown on all sides. So I'm going to give it a couple stirs to get them evenly cooked, and then we'll move on from there for the next step. That's 6 minutes. So as you can see, the chicken is cooked on all sides, but as you remember, we are cooking this throughout when we add the broth and the rice, so it's going to keep cooking. So if you're worried about it being raw, don't worry, we're going to keep cooking throughout. So this chicken took about 6 minutes to brown on all sides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add up our andouille sausage coins right into this mix. So as you can see, I'm going to add all of my andouille sausage coins right into the pot. And I'm going to stir. And again, 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, get that sausage in there, coated with that delicious Cajun spice. Okay, stir it up. And I'm just going to leave it alone. 3 to 4 minutes. And give it an occasional stir every once in a while, okay? Alright, so now I'm going to slowly add all my vegetables. Again, celery, garlic, peppers, and onions. So I don't want to get anything on the floor, so I'm using the knife. But if you want, you can use your hands. Whatever. So it's all going in one pot. It's a one pot dinner. Okay, it smells amazing. And I'm going to stir slowly. You don't want to push down the vegetables. You just want to stir slow and incorporate all those vegetables inside that chicken and andouille sausage mix. Oh wow, it smells really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. Again, stir it occasionally because we want those vegetables tender. And if you have a cover for your pot, great, put it on. The steam from the heat will help cook the vegetables as well. So I've let the vegetables cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. They smell wonderful, they look tender. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the uncooked rice. And again, I'm just doubling the recipe. So if you just want a single batch, please follow the link below. Okay, so I'm going to add both the whole bag of rice, stir it up. Okay, it's going to cook, I promise. You're going to get the nice fluffy pieces of rice because we're going to add the chicken broth in a minute. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 cans of diced tomatoes. Okay. Alright, a little more. Stir it up. Oh yeah. And when cooking jambalaya, make sure you have a pot big enough. This pot is just right. It's perfect. I'm going to stir it all up. Look at the colors. You can see the green, the red, the white. Okay. So far so good. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some more of my Creole seasoning. Again, homemade. You can follow the link below for the recipe. And most of these ingredients you can find at home. So I'm going to add maybe 2 spoonfuls. Stir that up. Okay, stir it up really good. Oh wow. Oh yeah, it smells delicious. Okay, now I'm going to add the hot sauce. Now depending on who you have in your family, if they don't like spicy, if they don't like hot, I'm only going to add maybe 2 squirts of hot sauce. It's up to you, however spicy you want it, but that is a great time to add spice to it. So mix it up. Okay. Now I'm going to add my Worcestershire sauce. Again, just a little bit of dab. Not a lot. Alright, looking good. Now we are going to add some freshly ground pepper. Some salt. Again, you can add the salt later. Just always salt your food. Now, we need a liquid for the rice to start cooking and plumping up. So we're going to take the chicken broth. So I'm going to use the whole thing. That's 1 box of this is about 4 cups. And because I doubled the recipe, I'm going to do the other box as well. Okay. Stir it up. Now the liquid will help the rice plump up. And the last thing I add, I'm not going to add the shrimp until later, but the last thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add maybe 4 bay leaves. Now, if you don't know anything about bay leaves, they come out before you serve it. So if you put it in a bowl of someone that you're serving, take out the bay leaf with a spoon, and again, it just adds flavor and it's a good aroma. So now that I have all the ingredients in there, I'm going to cover it. Make sure it's on a medium to high heat, so I have it on a 7 or 8. And I'm going to let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, 15 to 20 minutes, and I'm going to come and check on it. You will probably want to come and do an occasional stir to make sure you incorporate all those ingredients, but right now we're going to let it simmer. So when you add the shrimp, you add it towards the end of the cooking for the jambalaya, because the shrimp is not going to take long. It's actually going to cook in the hot liquid and with the rice and then other proteins. Now, if you notice, I bought raw shrimp. I bought the raw peeled shrimp because you definitely want to take the peels off before you put it in your jambalaya. The reason for that is because if they cook, some of the peels might go into the jambalaya and you don't want people to eat the hard skin. So again, you can leave the tails on, but again, I recommend taking even the tails off. So I will like to throw about a pound of this shrimp into that with no tails and no skin. And the good thing with already buying, this was frozen, I let it thaw. The good thing about buying this is just it's the right amount I need. And it already has the peeling, so you don't have to do that part. All right, so we're gonna add the shrimp now to the jambalaya. All right, as you can see, the jambalaya is still cooking. There's still some liquid left, which is fine, but now is the perfect time to go ahead and add the shrimp. Now, I'm not going to pour the bag of shrimp because it's thawed, there's some excess water in there, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just add them, get a handful. As you can see in the bag, I'm rinsing them off, or just getting the excess liquid off, and just throwing them in the jambalaya. So they're going in raw, but once you eat them, they will be cooked fully through. Okay. God, yeah, that's good. All right. This is about 1.5 pounds of shrimp, so I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna stir them and incorporate it. And I'm gonna let this cook for about 10 to 15 more minutes. By then, the shrimp will be cooked, as well as the liquid, the rest of the broth should be evaporated. And the rice will be fully cooked, and we'll be able to enjoy. So while the jambalaya is still cooking with the shrimp and getting rid of that excess liquid, like with the broth, I'm going to go ahead and prepare our garnish. Now, if you ask a professional chef, everything on a plate needs to be edible. So for me, I'm going to actually put some green onion on top of our jambalaya to serve so you can actually eat it. Sometimes you'll go to a restaurant and they'll put parsley off the side or something else. They don't eat it. This we're actually going to put on top of our jambalaya to serve with it. So to cut a green onion, I'm going to keep it in the bunch, like so. And I washed, but as you can see, the tips of these, they might be a little dried out, they might be a little brown. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of them. So I'm going to cut as close where they all come to, and I'm just going to cut and get rid of these, okay? So now when cutting these, they should all be clean just like that. Now, I'm not going to cut straight down. When I cut green onions, never straight down. I'm going to cut at an angle, okay? Cut an angle. Okay, now look, now you have garnish ready to go on top of your jambalaya. Simple as that. And by the way, this goes great on baked potatoes. Jambalaya is done. I stirred it in a bowl, covered it with a little bit of our garnish of green onions, and now we're ready to eat. Let's see how it tastes. This big spoon. Got a piece of andouille sausage. The rice is cooked perfectly. The seasoning is on point. It's delicious. I want to thank you today for joining me as we made jambalaya, and I want you to join me next time as we take a trip down Bourbon Street for another New Orleans inspired dish. Who knows what we'll be making? It might be a surprise. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And again, I want to thank you. Remember, you can cook anything as long as you reach for the stars. Thank you and have a good night.